At least 8 people are now in custody in the Manchester bombing investigation. British police arresting another man in an early morning raid. Neighbors describe what they saw. Look.
Last night we heard about, we had a big commotion. We heard police shouting, "Open up," you know, get down, hands up, you know, kind of thing. And then we looked through the garden gate, a little crack in the garden gate, and we saw about 20 to 30 armed police officers. At least 5 or 6 vehicles, and there were 2 or 3 men on the floor being arrested.
That, in fact, was an area called Moss Side, and the suicide bomber himself, Salman Abedi, grew up near that area. But right now we have Staff Sergeant Joey Jones. He's a retired U.S. Marine and a former bomb technician, and he's going to talk to us a little bit more about the bombing itself. As an expert, we've heard that it was a sophisticated bomb. Now the latest reports, it was not so sophisticated. From the information that you've heard, what do you think?
Well, first off, all we can do is speculate. There isn't near enough information out there to know what this bomb was or what type of bomb it was. More than likely it was homemade explosives, which takes a certain amount of sophisticated chemistry to create a homemade explosive rather than, say, go out and buy C4. And that might be the most sophisticated component there. What I will say is that the actual workings of a bomb can be as simple as a flashlight you buy at Walmart. And the components you need to set off a bomb are kind of a power source, something that goes boom, and a way to make it go boom, a switch. And so what I mean by that is a suicide vest is much less technical than, say, something you set off with a cell phone or an IR or some type of signal. So the sophistication might be in the actual explosive, or it might be in how you set it off. Or neither. In this case, it could be very simple.
Well, we've seen pictures that have been leaked. Some of those pictures showed pieces of shrapnel on the ground, also the backpack that he was carrying it in. What's the danger to the investigation when something like that happens?
Well, if they use the type of initiation, so if what they actually used to set the explosives off, which they said they thought they had an igniter or a detonator, if they use something new and ISIS or someone sees that and they confirm that this new tool worked effectively, well, you just confirm for the enemy that their new tactics will work or are effective. And so when you follow that line of thought, we don't want to give the enemy any more information on this than anyone else or less than anyone else. So it's important that the public know what happened, but it's important that these authorities get the opportunity to investigate to the fullest extent what this was, how it happened, and how to prevent it.
Well, we know that the investigation is moving pretty quickly, and Abedi's father and brother have been arrested with ties to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Anything about the investigation so far that you've learned that would tell you that this is part of a global network?
Well, at the end of the day, I got to Afghanistan in March 2010. By August 2010, when I was injured, the bombs were completely different. It's a constant chess game. Some of the things that stay consistent is the idea of a cell network, or the opportunity to have a sophisticated, knowledgeable bomb maker in one area who creates these destructive or deadly tools, and then a group of people around that person to implement them, put them where they need to be. Even to put a bomb in the ground in Afghanistan, it would be 2 or 3 people at different times coming in to do it. And so whether or not any of those tactics really transfer over to this is up in the air right now. But what we do know is that if it's a terrorist organization who put him up to this, chances are they don't want the guy with the knowledge, the chemistry to make homemade explosives, to blow himself up and then lose that basically intellectual property. So when you see that they've arrested 10 people, that they're going through the family, that they've looked at associates, they've already let 2 people go they've arrested and probably didn't have anything to do with it, what you can assume is they're following their leads to their fullest extent, probably under the priority of, is there something else out there they need to prevent? And that's good.
Is there a possibility that something went wrong and that he was meant to drop the backpack and leave?
Absolutely. I mean, we're far out in left field of speculation. But when ISIS puts out a claim that multiple bombs were dropped off or placed, and then this guy obviously set himself off, there's a chance that perhaps the level of sophistication, the ability to set it off with a cell phone was the plan but didn't work. And to go with a less sophisticated, more foolproof way would be a suicide vest. That's about as foolproof as it gets, but it's also incredibly simple. So there's 101 things that could have went wrong and caused it to become a suicide bomber, or he may have just gone rogue, or that might have been what he was told to do. We just don't know.
And they've said that they believe that there's at least one other bomb out there.
Yeah, and that comes down to probably the places that they've searched and found materials. They could have found packaging to certain components that would mimic what they saw there, things like that. Also, when a bomb goes off, it doesn't destroy all of its parts. I've pulled pieces of black tape with fingerprints on them off of a bomb that went off. So the opportunity to gather forensics is the most important thing. We're talking fingerprints, DNA, serial numbers from components to see where they were bought. And just let me put out there, I'm not giving any information on how to make a bomb here that you can't get on the internet, that Timothy McVeigh didn't get 20, 30 years ago. So I'm not revealing any secrets here except to say what we truly can do. We can't always prevent people from making bombs, and we can't prevent people from being bad, but what we can do is follow the tools we have, follow the leads we have, and take them as far as we can. And it works.
Yeah.
We prevent things every day.
And you're right, though. It is out there, the information, as we unfortunately have seen time and time again. And now we have 22 people dead as a result.
And it's tragedy.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sergeant Jones. We appreciate it.
Thank you.